So what are the best suburbs to live in here in Charlotte, North Carolina? Well, according to niche.com, we have the top 10 suburbs for the Charlotte area in 2024. So today we'll review niche.com's list of top 10 best suburbs here in the Charlotte area. We'll give you the good, the bad, the ugly, and our thoughts as well. So guys, let's go ahead and jump on in. And if you are new to the channel and want to know everything there is to know about the Charlotte area, click that subscribe button and turn notifications on. That way you'll be the first to know what's going on in our local housing market. My name is Josh Finigan, team leader with the Finigan Group, powered by eXp Realty. And every single day, myself and my team are getting calls, texts, and emails from people just like you, either looking to relocate to the Charlotte area or move within the Charlotte area, and we absolutely love it. So whether you're looking to move in 9 days or 90 days, feel free to give us a call, text us, email us, or schedule a Zoom meeting. The link is just below. We would love to learn a little bit more about what you're looking to accomplish and how we can help. Let's go ahead and jump on in with number 10, Waxhaw, North Carolina. Super popular suburb, a little bit farther outside of the Charlotte city center. It's over in Union County, about 45 minutes southeast of Charlotte. It's gonna be a little bit more rural in parts, but it definitely has a lot of great housing options available. So let's go ahead and see what niche.com graded Waxhaw. They gave it an overall A. They gave it A for public schools, which is definitely true. They gave it A- for housing because there is a lot of housing options out there, but the price point has gotten higher over the past couple of years. They said an A for good for families, a B- for nightlife, which there's not that much nightlife in Waxhaw. You're probably going to be going to Charlotte to get that, but there are a lot of great bars and restaurant options in Waxhaw. They give it a B+ for crime and safety and an A- for diversity. Now, niche.com says the median sales price here in Waxhaw is $448,000. And because I do what I do, I pulled the MLS data this morning. The median sales price here in Waxhaw is actually closer to $692,000. So the sales price does tend to be a little bit off, but I do like using niche.com to give you a little bit of an overview and a guide of some of the key factors most buyers are looking for when moving into a suburb. But I'd love to hear from you. Do you guys like using niche.com? Do you think it's good or bad? Comment below. And in fact, niche.com ranks Charlotte suburbs in a lot of different ways, like best for families, best for living. So if you guys would like us to do a video on like the best suburbs for families or the cheapest suburbs or one of the other niche.com categories, comment below and we'll definitely put that in the list. So number 9 on this list is a suburb we have featured a lot on this channel. It's Huntersville, North Carolina. It has a great location. It is just north of Charlotte City Center, meaning you can get to Charlotte City Center in about 15 to 20 minutes. You also have Birkdale Village. It's a fantastic shopping center that people from all around Huntersville like to go visit. And you're right on Lake Norman, so it gives you easy access to that lake life. So niche.com rated Huntersville an A for overall ranking. They gave it a B+ for schools. There's a few different school districts in Huntersville. Some are more desired than others. So if schools are important, you really want to pay close attention when you're looking in Huntersville. They gave it a B+ for housing because there are a lot of housing options. There's a different variety in Huntersville. You have your kind of golf course communities. You have Birkdale Village that is also a neighborhood as well. And you have some different types of neighborhoods you can find here in Huntersville. They say A is good for families, B- for crime and safety, a B for nightlife, and an A- for diversity. Now, niche.com said that the median sales price here in Huntersville is $393,000, and I don't think that's really correct. It's actually closer to $520,000. And guys, just a quick heads up, we've actually shot videos and created web pages for each and every one of these suburbs, doing a deep dive on the location, the housing options, different pros and cons on each of these suburbs. So if you want to learn a little bit more about one of these suburbs I mentioned on this video, check the description below because we'll have links to all of them. So number 8 on this list is Matthews, North Carolina. It's a super cool suburb, very close to Charlotte City Center. I actually used to live in downtown Matthews, and we actually still have our house, and we have it as an Airbnb, and it's doing wonderfully. There's a really cool bar and restaurant area, some great places to go visit. They have a lot of events that are really family oriented all throughout the year. I actually think this one should be ranked a little bit higher on this list. I'm glad it made the list, but it probably should be a little bit higher because it's such a nice place to live. So as far as niche.com is concerned, they gave Matthews an overall grade of an A. They give it an A- for public schools, a B+ for housing, A, which is good for families, which I do really agree with. They have a lot of family-oriented events and restaurants throughout Matthews. C+ for crime and safety, a B+ for nightlife, and an A- for diversity. So Matthews is definitely a very eclectic area. You have that downtown Matthews area, you have some more rural parts as well. So it's definitely a super cool place to visit that you should keep on your list. Now, niche.com said that the median sales price was $360,000, but it's more like $520,000. You really can't find any single family homes for around $360,000. You're gonna be around $450,000 and above. You can find some townhome options below that $350,000 mark if you're kind of looking for something a little bit smaller. Number 7 on this list is for you lake lovers out there, Cornelius, North Carolina. It is nestled on the shores of Lake Norman, offers some fantastic housing options. You can actually find some of the most exquisite homes in the greater Charlotte area, nestled right on the shores of Lake Norman. You are just north of Charlotte City Center, and I-77 runs right through the middle of Cornelius, so it gives you super easy access to the greater Charlotte area. A lot of people live in Cornelius, commute to Charlotte for work, and then come back. But Cornelius does have a booming economy in itself, so you could definitely find a lot of great work options there as well. Niche.com gave Cornelius an overall rating of an A+. They said A- for public schools, a B+ for housing, A good for families. They said a B+ for nightlife, and a B for diversity. Niche.com has the median sales price here in Cornelius at $452,000, which they're a little bit off again. The median sales price here in Cornelius is actually $535,000. Cornelius does have some condo and townhome options in that $400,000 price range, but the median sales price for a single family home in Cornelius is $700,000, so you're definitely going to be spending a little bit more for a single family home. And number 6 on this list is Harrisburg, North Carolina. It's a super small suburb. I'm actually surprised it ended this high on the list. I'm not surprised it made it on the list, but I'm surprised it outranks places like Matthews and Cornelius. It is a great place to live. The location is fantastic. You're super close to Charlotte. You can get to the city center in about 20 minutes, but it's really kind of a suburban enclave. There's some great neighborhoods, but there's not too much in Harrisburg itself. If you live in Harrisburg, you're probably gonna be jetting over to Charlotte or Concord for any entertainment or restaurant needs that you may have. Niche.com gave it an A+ overall rating. They said A for public schools, which it does find itself in Cabarrus County, which is known for their good school districts. But again, Concord has the Cox Mill High School, which is the best high school in Cabarrus County. They have A for housing, which is a great value for what you get in Harrisburg, especially in the location when you consider proximity to Concord and Charlotte. They have A+, good for families, B- for nightlife, which really, if you look at Harrisburg itself, there's not terribly too much to do in Harrisburg, and an A for diversity. Niche.com has the median sales price at $383,000, but it's actually closer to $455,000, which will get you a nice single family home on a decent portioned lot in a good neighborhood. So it's definitely a place you want to check out. Really great kind of neighborhood feel and a great proximity to the overall Charlotte location. Now, coming to number 5 on the list, we have Weddington, North Carolina, which I'm definitely not surprised Weddington made this list. It is a fantastic suburb, one of the more affluent areas in the greater Charlotte area, really well known for their school systems and their wonderful housing options. You're gonna find some gorgeous homes in the Weddington area in some very amenity-rich communities. Niche.com gave them an overall rating of A+, which has a lot to do with the school system here in Weddington. They give it an A+ for public schools. As I mentioned earlier, it has a great school system. If you are looking for some of the better schools in the greater Charlotte area, you want to keep Weddington on your list. They have an A- for housing options, A+, good for families. They give it a C+ for nightlife, which I find a little surprising because you do have Waverly and downtown Waxhaw super close, and you're not that far away from Ballantyne either. Now, Weddington itself doesn't really have a lot in the city. It's mostly kind of a community built of like suburbs, but you have a lot right at your fingertips. Now, Niche.com said that the median sales price here in Weddington was $674,000, and I'll have to say that is 100% wrong. The median sales price in Weddington is actually $1.29 million, so just a little bit off there. Guys, I would love to hear from you though. What are your thoughts on this list so far? We went through number 10 through number 5. Do you agree with where these suburbs have ranked on this list? Comment below. Number 4 is Fort Mill, South Carolina, and this one doesn't surprise me. We've mentioned Fort Mill quite a lot on this channel. It's a fantastic place to live, definitely known for their public school systems. Fort Mill is over in South Carolina, just across the border, so it's still an easy commute to North Carolina. You're super close to the lake. You have a lot of great walkable options there. You have Baxter Village, you have downtown Fort Mill and Kingsley, so it definitely gives you a great lifestyle, really known for a great place for families. If I had to move to the South Carolina side of Charlotte area, I would definitely consider Fort Mill. Niche.com gave Fort Mill an overall rating of an A+. They gave it an A+ for public schools. Again, the Fort Mill school system is known as one of the best in the overall Charlotte area, so I believe it's probably one of the reasons it ranked so high on this list. They give it an A for housing. There's definitely a big diversity in housing options you can find in Fort Mill. You can find those really nice communities. You can find some waterfront homes, some golf course communities, and some pretty attractively priced communities as well. Yeah, A+, good for families, really kind of known as a family-centered community. B- for crime and safety, a B for nightlife, and a B+ for diversity. Now, Niche.com said the median sales price here in Fort Mill was $414,000, which isn't too far off. The median sales price is only $465,000. You tend to find that people move from North Carolina to South Carolina for better taxes, better schools, and better price points. This brings us to number 3, Marvin, North Carolina. We're back in Union County. It's actually right beside Weddington. It's a smaller suburb, but a very, very affluent area in the Charlotte area. Some gorgeous homes, definitely some luxurious builds. You'll find some of the best architectural examples Charlotte has to offer right here in Marvin. And again, one of the reasons Marvin is on this list and so high, because of the school system. Union County is known for their schools, but Marvin itself has the Marvin Ridge High School, which is one of the most accredited high schools in the area. Niche.com gave Marvin an overall rating of an A+. A+ for public schools, again, some of the best in the Charlotte area. They give an A for housing, so they do have a decent variability in housing. The price point will be a little bit higher here in Marvin, just like in Weddington, but you definitely have some great communities to choose from. You'll find some great neighborhoods here in Marvin, like the Firethorn Country Club, one of my favorite neighborhoods in the greater Charlotte area, and you also have Marvin Creek as well. One thing I didn't mention when we were talking about Weddington and Waxhaw is that there's definitely a very strong equestrian culture here in Marvin, Weddington, and a few areas of Waxhaw. So if that's important to you, there's definitely another plus for you going to Marvin, Weddington, or Waxhaw. Niche.com has the median sales price here in Marvin at $799,000, but again, just a smidge off. The median sales price is closer to $1.13 million. So we're about to jump to number 2, which is one of my favorite suburbs in the greater Charlotte area. But first, I'd love to hear from you. What is not on this list so far that you think should be on this list? Comment below. And number 2 on this list is Davidson, North Carolina, and I am not surprised it made it on this list. A little surprised it didn't end up as number 1, but the number 1 is a fantastic community as well. Davidson has a lot to offer. It's nestled right on the shores of Lake Norman, right above Cornelius. And again, you have I-77 taking you directly south to the Charlotte City Center. You have that easy lake life, and there's also the downtown Davidson, a super beautiful historic area that offers some great restaurants and shops, and you also have Davidson College as well. So there's definitely a strong culture in this community, a lot of housing options, and just a fantastic place to live. And myself and my team get a ton of calls from people all across the United States and all across the world looking to move to the Charlotte area, and Davidson is the number 1 place we hear them mention that they want to move to. Niche.com gave Davidson overall grade of an A+. They gave it an A for public schools, which Davidson K through 8 is a highly rated school district a lot of people want to get into. They gave it an A- for housing options. A+ good for family. There's definitely a lot of events going on throughout the year. Definitely a lot of things you could do with your family, and you have that lake life right there as well. They give it a B+ for crime and safety. They give it a B+ for nightlife, and a B for diversity. Niche.com said the median sales price in Davidson was $572,000, which wasn't that far off. The median sales price is actually $600,000. The single families is definitely going to be a little bit higher. There's a lot of condo and townhome options, definitely when you get to kind of that downtown Davidson area. And one thing I will mention is there's not a lot of waterfront single family homes available in Davidson. You're going to find more options in Huntersville and Cornelius, and above Davidson in Mooresville. So you'll definitely find a lot of waterfront options in Davidson, but a lot of them tend to be condos or townhomes. Davidson is awesome, one of my favorite suburbs in the Charlotte area, but I'd love to hear from you. Do you think Davidson should be number 2 on this list? Comment below. But guys, let's go ahead and get to number 1 on this list. All right, so number 1 on this list is Tega Cay, South Carolina, guys. We are just south of Charlotte, over the border in South Carolina. Tega Cay is a gorgeous community. It's nestled on the shores of Lake Wylie. It's a waterfront community. It's a golf course community. It is that golf cart walkable community you were looking for. You have Windjammer Park, you actually have a marina in Tega Cay as well, and you have access to the highly rated Fort Mill school system. So there's definitely a lot of positives here in Tega Cay. That is why they ranked it number 1 on the list. Niche.com not only named Tega Cay as the number 1 suburb in the Charlotte area, they also named it as the number 1 town in South Carolina. So definitely a desirable place to live. They gave it an overall grade of an A+, public schools A+, obviously we mentioned that, right? The Fort Mill School District is a highly sought after school district. They give it an A for housing, which on housing I will say there's definitely a lot of variety in the housing options. You obviously have your waterfront homes, you have some condos, you have some townhomes as well. The homes tend to skew on the older side, so you may find some homes that need a little bit of love, need some renovation, or you may find some homes that have been fully gutted and fully renovated. There are some newer options available, but they're harder to find in Tega Cay. They give it an A+, good for families. It really lends itself to that family lifestyle. You can walk around, you can have a golf cart, get to and from, right? Have some golf, go on the water, definitely a lot of things to do. They give it a B+ for crime and safety, B for nightlife, which you're gonna be kind of on your own. Definitely where you live on Tega Cay, it may be a little bit longer of a drive. Definitely you compare yourself to Fort Mill to get to the Charlotte City Center. And on that whole stretch that brings you into Tega Cay, you have to go a little bit slower on that road, which lends to a little bit longer of a commute to get to some different shops, bars, and restaurants in the area, or if you work uptown. And guys, guess what? Niche.com actually got really darn close on the median sales price. They said the median sales price is $462,000. The median sales price is actually $460,000, so pretty darn close on that one. But there's definitely gonna be a huge variety in that sales price, depending on if you want a condo or townhome, if you want a home on the golf course, or if you want a waterfront home. There's definitely different price ranges you can find throughout Tega Cay. I know a lot of our clients mentioned they want to move to Tega Cay for number 1, the housing options, number 2, the lifestyle, right? You have that golf course community and waterfront community. Number 3, the school district, and also they say it's a very safe place to live as well. So I'm definitely not surprised it made it as number 1 on the list. One thing I will say about Tega Cay is the topography tends to be a little bit more severe here than in other parts of the Charlotte area. So you're going to find a lot of hills. You may find some backyards that are pretty darn sloped, especially on the waterfront. There are some flat lots, but they're few and far in between. So guys, that is the 10 best suburbs in the Charlotte area based on Niche.com's 2024 list. I'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the ranking? Is there some that should be on this list that's not? Or do you think this list should be arranged a little bit differently? Comment below. And again, we have shot videos and created web pages diving deep into each and every one of these suburbs. So if you did find one that appeals to you, then I definitely implore you to check the description below. There's going to be different links to give you a lot more information on each and every one of these suburbs. And if you are considering moving to the Charlotte area or within the Charlotte area, whether it be in 9 days or 90 days, feel free to call us, text us, email us, schedule a Zoom meeting. The link is just below. We'd love to learn a little bit more about what you're looking to accomplish and be your real estate resource guide of choice. I look forward to hearing from all of you soon, and until next video, I'll see you around town.